everything that has happened throughout the course of my business and every level up that we've experienced is a result of the law of attraction, because my vision for this company has always been way bigger than even what you see now. From the very beginning. That video that we just premiered on April 11th is a step toward where I see us going. I made it come up. I made it come up. I made it come up.
And welcome everybody to another episode of Interviews with Your Brand Man. Y'all, I know y'all know this lady here. It's the incomparable, the amazing, the talented, the most business-oriented woman I know, Janee Latrice. Give her a great big round of applause. Wherever you are, in your cars, in your homes, wherever you're watching or viewing or hearing this, please give it up for this lady, because she just needs all of that energy in the world. She is amazing. She has the business acumen of a tycoon, of a beast. She is the founder of BDX, and she also has so much more going on. And if you don't know what BDX is, it is Boogie Down Experience. You're going to hear all about it in this interview, how it came about, how she came on to this. You're going to hear all about her struggles, her love, her passion, her talent, how we met, all of those good things. You're going to hear all of it. But I'm just going to let Janee speak for herself, because I'm telling you, she's the bomb. So, but she got to tell y'all who she is, what she does, and tell them where they can find you, all of that good stuff. Let's do the intros.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, Jared, thank you so much for that healthy introduction. Okay, that thing was very healthy. It gave me all of the fuel that I need for the day, even after this interview. Thank you. I sincerely appreciate it. And I want to start by saying much shout out to you and your brand and your businesses and everything that you have going on. You inspire entrepreneurs like me. I am blessed to be connected to you professionally and also personally, because you are one of just the most integral people that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting and coming to know. I am so grateful for your friendship when it comes down to getting those t-shirts done.
Yes.
Or when it comes down to me needing help with my cat, whatever it is, you got me. And I really do sincerely appreciate it. And thank you for having me on the show. So yeah, like Jared said, I am the owner and operator of Boogie Down Experience, which is an event entertainment team. What we do is we provide entertainment like live bands, DJs, strings, and anything within the musical realm for weddings, corporate events, social events. I'm also a recording artist. I have projects on every streaming platform possible. My album, full album, Back to Me. I also have a rap EP, This Is Not a Test. I dropped a single last year, maybe it was a year before, called Forget Me Not. I don't know. There's music out there under Janee Latrice, because music is just something that I love to do. And I dibble and dabble in the podcast realm as well. I have a podcast called the Janee Latrice Podcast. Right now, you can find us on YouTube. So yeah, check us out. I've been doing this event entertainment stuff since really, I've had the heart for it since I can remember. But I tapped into the professional circuit 2013, 2014, working for other event entertainment companies. One of the top competitors, I'm not going to mention any names, but they pretty much had the market on lock when I got hired by them. And that was my first experience. That was my first time seeing live bands at a wedding. You know, culturally speaking, Black people, we book our DJ.
Yeah, right.
Care about
the caterer, that's it, right?
You don't even gotta worry about it. Get the cooler out, and even for our upscale events, you know, we're very much like culturally, we're very much committed to the DJ contributing the vibes for the event. So when I got hired by this company and I saw what a live band actually contributed to an event and how it just kicked it up several notches, I was deeply inspired by that. And the reason that I came to want to start my own company is because, Jared, for every event we played, and even for every single person that I had spoken to who had been in this industry decades, you could either count on one hand or not count on one hand at all how many Black weddings and Black or brown, anything other than like really the Jewish sector culturally wasn't taking advantage of this, what I consider to be a luxury. So I wanted to just diversify that demographic of clients who was taking advantage of this entity. I wanted to break a precedent in that my company would be able to service all clients from all walks of life, not just Black people or Hispanic people or, whatever the case may be, but all walks of life, multicultural, widely diverse, whatever it is that you want, that is what we could do. So we've been in existence for 5 years. When I first started the company, I went to my former business partner, major shout out to Neil Thornton. And I was just like, listen, bro, like, this is my idea. This is what I want to do. He was like, listen, I got the equipment, you got the network, like, let's make it happen. We had a meeting in my living room on Market Street. Those who have been there, if you know, you know.
I've been there.
Yes, you know, that was like the lighthouse for all things. So we had a meeting right in my living room. And from there, Boogie Down Experience was born. And over the past 5 going on 6 years, we've been able to service about 20 to 30 clients overall within our community specifically, and that doesn't count outside of our community. But yeah, when I say community, I mean ethnicity. I mean like Black people, brown people, that was something that was important to me. Now, moving into year 6, we're just now kind of expanding that vision, retargeting, and wanting to make sure that people understand we are not a monolith. We are not limited to just one genre or one style of event or one culture. We can do it all. And so that's where, we find ourselves now. It's been a ride.
Yo, I love it. You just gave us the whole history. So now if y'all didn't know what BDX is, you all the way got the story right there. You know what it is, where it comes from. So I'm going to ask you, Janeé, take us back to the beginning. Mm-hmm. Take us back to little Janeé. Take us back to, I don't know, what were you doing? Dancing in the mirror, singing the songs? Where did the talent come from? Where was it cultured? How was it cultured? When did you know that you wanted to be this artist? So we heard the Boogie Down, history. But before then, Janeé was an artist. Janeé had a passion. So walk us through that and how that actually guided you here.
Yeah, that's a great question. And, let me just pause before I fully divulge there and say for any aspiring entrepreneurs, I think, especially now in the era that we are in, where there's so many kind of just like get money quick styles of entrepreneurism or, entrepreneurship. I think that it is very important to connect what you're doing with something that you're passionate about, because it's exhausting running a business, but you get the fuel from your passion to keep going. So I have been a singer in my mind since I was born. I don't really remember, it's my earliest memories. I was performing for my family as they played cards at the table on Sunday. Like I was really just that type of child. I love to sing. If God forbid, if we were taking a road trip somewhere, pray for my aunt's uncle's mom, because I'm singing, and I mean like loud at the top of my lungs the whole time. There are actual stories that can vouch for that and support that. So yeah, it's been a passion of mine since forever. I did get my start. My mom, I think, found it easiest to enter me into the world of kind of like training through dance. I was doing a lot of things. She had me in piano lessons for a while because I was playing piano by ear. But once I started taking the lessons, I kind of lost my passion for it because I'm like, oh, this is like way more technical than I thought.
Work.
Yeah, so don't worry about that. We'll just continue to be from here with it on a piano, but at least we can sing. So we good on that. And I used to love to dance. So she put me in dance school. When I was 8 years old, I started with Gwendolyn By Dance Center, eventually moved over to Philadelphia. Major shout out to Joan Myers-Brown. And from there, I was just immersed in the culture of art, right? And artistry. I went on to do summer camp at the Young Performers Theater Camp. And at that point, I was able to see there's musical theater in this. There's actual training for singers. There's actual all day we're dancing now. You know what I'm saying? This is a full day thing. And I just fell in love with it. Like, I was always an eccentric child. I was a military brat. I moved around a lot. I probably boarded more planes from the time I was born to the time I was 8 than most people do in their entire life. Like, I mean, I moved to different schools a lot. It was hard for me to grasp long-term friendships because I was always moving. But what I had was art. Like, I had, dance, I had singing. Nobody could take that from me. These are things I can do when I'm at home by myself.
And you can take it anywhere with you.
Exactly. And I can't be robbed of that. So from Young Performers Theater Camp, throughout the, days of spending time in camp, I heard about this school called Kappa. And I was like approaching, I guess, like 6th, 7th grade at that time. So I'm like, it's time to start looking at high schools. And up until that point, it was very much like Central or Girls High. Like, this is, or maybe ENS, this is where I'm going to go. When I started hearing about Kappa, obviously my ears perked up. So I'm running home. I'm telling mom about that. She starts looking into it. I wanted to audition as a vocal major. My mom thought that it was very competitive. In her mind, she's like, everybody sings. I think you have I think she wanted to put that good dance school money that
she wanted to put that in the play. I was about to say, it sounded like she was trying to get that ROI.
She's like, listen, we've been going to dance school. Okay, paying this good tuition. You're going to audition for dance. And so I did. And I'm very glad I did because I entered Kappa my freshman year, 2000. I came under the direction of the late legendary LaDiva Davis, and she really massaged the leader out of me. She massaged the artist as an identity out of me. She gave me, by the time I was in 10th grade, she gave me the lead vocal performance next to a senior, Alexis McGill, also rest in peace, to sing, we did the Thanksgiving Day parade every year. And I got to perform a vocal lead as a sophomore next to a senior leading the entire dance department. I just got a lot of leeway at Kappa. I was able to choreograph, in dance concerts and things like that. And it was really at Kappa. Like, I had always been an artist. I had, or what I thought an artist was. I always had a love for art and a love for entertainment. But it was at Kappa that I realized, like, no, I want to be an artist for the rest of my life. Like, this is what I really want to do.
No question, huh? Nothing else.
No question, because it was the community. Like, there's so many other people that are like me. It makes it feel real. It makes it feel possible. Now, because I come from a family of like staunch professionals, like, attorneys, accountants, educators, a lot of military. Immediately in my mind, it was, how can I do what I love and still make it a business or still make a profit off of it? Yeah. And so I tried, pause here. I had a company that I started called Write the Vision. It was a resource-based company for parents with artistic children or, just creating a community of development for artists. I started that business. It ran for about 2 years and it failed, essentially, because that happens on the road to entrepreneurship. I had a business fail. So it wasn't until 2017 that I came back around to wearing my entrepreneurial hat. I had gotten out here. I had done some work in the professional artist realm. And then I said, okay, I think this is going to be the one to just really align me with my life path. And that's how I came to become an entrepreneur within the artistic spectrum, is because all of those experiences growing up, and especially Kappa, that was just, I miss it.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, this is where our roots go back. So I met Janeé at Kappa, and I'll never forget the performance y'all did. Y'all redid Sister Act during a dance show, and that was the first time I heard you sing. And I remember being blown away. I'm like, what? This dancer got chops like this. So she's singing.
I was a freshman.
You were a freshman.
Miss Davis was like, listen, I'm bringing in Charles Lundy on keyboard, and you're going to sing this. And I'm just like, okay.
I remember being blown away because I didn't know. I didn't know you like that. So that made you stand out to me immediately. As the dancer that can blow, like the dancer that can really, really sing. And then it just made me think about how multi-talented many people were at Kappa. And so No, I totally agree that Kappa grooms leaderships within the art in a whole nother way.
Yeah.
The way that the leadership there was able to trust us with their vision, with our new visions, the way they gave us a space to be on the stage and kind of control that stage, there is no other greater feeling. So I attribute
Yeah.
a lot of my gifts and skills to the grooming that happened at Kappa there. So it's great to hear that, you had that same experience. And I'm sure many other people watching this, listening to this, from Kappa will agree to the same thing.
100%.
You talk about your first business, and I made a little note of that, and you said that it failed. I have two questions in regards to that. Why do you think that it failed? And the other question is, what were the takeaways? Because how I look at failure, as long as you're my mentee, I think I said this on another episode, but my mentee said, as long as you fail forward, you're still making horizontal progress, right? You're still making progress because you're moving forward in a way. So what were some of the takeaways that, even good or bad, that you took away from that experience that you applied to Boogie Down when you approached that? So
yeah,
two-part question. So the first one was
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the reason why I say that the business failed, and let me just say, I still have a heart for Write the Vision. That's what the company was called. I still have a heart for it. Now that I'm more educated, I think that it may be better suited as like a nonprofit organization. I use the term fail because in the grand scheme of business, right, when you assess return of investments and, just fiscal calendar years and the bottom line, you know what I'm saying? We weren't really making money as a business. You know what I'm saying? I was doing like workshops, and I would do at the time conference calls where people could dial in, and I could, and I did like one in-person event that was poorly attended, you know what I mean? And I think that I was onto something great with the product and the service that I was offering. But a lot of people may be like me in that when your brain is multifaceted and when you have many areas of creativity or even creative genius, humbly speaking, it can be hard, to narrow that and to like really figure out what
I got that problem too.
I specifically be doing right now. So yes. I think the overall vision of the company, even when I was explaining it to you at the onset, it wasn't narrowed. It wasn't very focused. That is definitely one of the many takeaways that I took from that when it came down and opening Boogie Down, because when I first wanted to open Boogie Down, I really wanted it to be a lot less narrow than it was because I'm so multifaceted as a creative. So I wanted us to offer like wedding party choreography for when y'all want to do like your dances.
Not the choreography. You want to teach me?
Yeah, I really wanted to say, and I had a conversation with my homegirl, Tiffany Gillespie. Major shout out to her. Follow her at I Build Businesses on Instagram. She is a business coach. And she was up and coming at the time when I was starting Boogie Down. And she told me, she was like, girl, like, this is all over the place. Like, you need to focus this. What is it that you want? Who are you trying to reach? Those kinds of questions I had not really sat with when it came down time to open Write the Vision. I just wanted to help everybody. You know what I mean? All I knew is that I was a misunderstood artist. Like I said, I come from a family of staunch professionals, and I wasn't really sure how I was going to make money as an artist, but I knew that I wanted to. I was determined to, and I wanted to build a community of other like-minded people in that vein, but I didn't have a very clear mission. I didn't have budgeting. I didn't have marketing strategies. All of those things that, you learn are important when you're starting a business on whatever level. It doesn't have to be, it could be high level. It doesn't have to be like, intricate necessarily, depending on what your business is. But it is important to sit with your business and sit with your plan and really get clear about what it is you're doing and why you're doing it and what you expect to gain from that. And all of those things were missed, I think, when I started Write the Vision. And so as a result, I kept pumping out events or services, and I wasn't really getting any feedback. Like I didn't really have a base. We didn't have a following. It wasn't consistent. Like, you know what I'm saying? On average, I could pull like maybe 7 people, from my family or close friends. But, when you look around at your in-person event and it's only like your aunts, your cousins, and your best friend, like, all right.
I've been there, done that. We got to figure out.
Let me think this through. Let me visit. So that's what happened with Write the Vision. And so when it came down time to start Boogie Down Experience, that's one of the reasons I reached out for a business partnership. And just so that I could remain wise to whatever I lacked. Yeah. And that's a model that I've stuck to, even building my bands and building my staff. I am committed to staffing my weaknesses. Mm-hmm. Where I am not as strong, I need people around me directly involved with this business who are very strong at that. That was a major takeaway from my division because I was doing it all by myself. So yeah, just organization was a takeaway, a plan, being properly prepared, team building and delegation was something that I took away from my division that was an opportunity of growth for me. And I've applied all of those things to Boogie Down, and I really attribute that our infrastructure is tight, our organization is tight. I've staffed my weaknesses where my bands are concerned. Even on my front line, I consider myself the vocalist with the most opportunity for growth. And I love that for me because all of us are singing circles around what we are designed to sing circles around. Yes. Yes. And I love that. So yeah, those are just a couple of the takeaways. Really, as well as I know, anytime something doesn't reach the level of success that you want it to reach, you could walk away with, we could be here for days talking about takeaways, down to, the fine tooth comb of it all. But just being better, being a better leader, being a better team player, being better at delegating, organizing, structuring, planning my year, things like that I took away and have applied to Boogie Down, and I believe it's been to our benefit.
For sure. And there are some major takeaways from what you just said, and from what you just said. The main thing is, for me, it's like those small things that we never really look at. The time to actually think about the things, right? To ask the questions, the why, the when, the who, the hows, right? All of that. You think that's so small, but it becomes such a big thing if you don't answer those questions, and it becomes a greater thing if you do. So thank you for that. I have another question based off of what you said. So you said you come from, really high professional family, right? And so how did they look at your art, right? How did they look at the art? How did they look at that? Was that accepted? Was it like, girl, you need to go? Well, did you get your degree? And if so, in what? And how did that look coming from professionals? Because I know there's some people watching this that are probably coming from very professional families, just like you are. And they have a love for the art. And a lot of times, especially with the boomers and the Gen X, they don't get it. They what is wrong with these millennials and these Gen Zs and they artistic entrepreneurialism? Don't they know they're going to be broke for a long time before work?
You preaching to the choir right now. Yeah, so I will say this, because, just transparently speaking, on a personal level, when I had conversations with my friends and stuff like that about my family and their relationships, what I do, I think I've been very hard on my family. Okay. So let me just start by saying this. My family is incredibly supportive. I will say it took a while, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, longer than I would have hoped. I have cousins who have always been major cheerleaders for whatever I'm doing. When it comes to the aunts and the uncles and things like that, it was very much, I remember the first time, or one of my first conversations as a young person, when I was asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, I always wanted to be a singer. I literally never wanted to be anything else. When people ask what you want to be when you grow up, you know how with kids, sometimes it changes. With me, it was always, I want to be a singer. And I remember having a conversation with an aunt where she was like, no, but what do you want to do? For work, as a job, that. Oh, yes, that hating question. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. And I was just so perplexed by that. And that stuck with me, Yeah. And that was kind of the energy. It was kind of we support you. This is great. We love that you're good at this. But we're kind of just watching to see, okay, so, but what is your plan? And truthfully, I struggled with that. I struggled with that a lot growing up, especially once I reached college age and it was time to pick a major in college. I'll tell you, very transparently speaking, my journey with college was rough. I wanted to go to the University of the Arts. because of the way, like, it was kind of like stigmatized when it came, at least, within my family structure, when it came to pursuing arts as a profession. And because I kind of, goofed off my senior year of Kappa, but who didn't? But
everybody, right? We all did.
I was accepted into University of the Arts, but I wasn't allowed to go. I was forced to go to Millersville University, and I had just started a dance company at the time and everything. And when I got there, I fell into a very severe depression. That was actually like my first bout with depression. I know a lot of creatives, dibble and dabble and understand our relationship with depressive episodes.
Yep.
And I failed out completely my freshman year at Millersville. Wow. I don't know if I even took any credits, honestly, wow. Because I just failed. Like I would never go to class. I would just bury myself in my dorm room. And it was just a really tough time for me. After that, it
seems like, now correct me if I'm wrong, but your passion seemed like it was kind of ripped from under the rug, was ripped from under you. You had no connection because your entire life you've been singing in the cars, you've been dancing all over the place, you've been able to groom that leadership level of things, and you're right when your dream is at its pinnacle in high school and all of that, you're forced to be like, no, jump into the real world the way us real world gangsters do it. No singing, no dancing, no nothing. Huh?
An hour from home, and like I had started a dance company at 17. My dance company was successful. Like we were experiencing success, and there was no way for me to run it an hour away. I didn't have a car or anything like that. So needless to say, I came back, I did some time at community college, ended up, long story short, at Eastern University, which was still, my entire relationship with college was always me trying to prove, I've always been brilliant. I've always been smart. It was never a matter of what I could do. It really was a matter of what I wanted to be doing. And I didn't want to be doing this. Like I didn't want to be majoring in communications. I didn't want to be doing that. I wanted to be creating artistic bodies of work. I wanted to be choreographing. I wanted to be writing music and recording music. I wanted to be performing like in the cruise ship arena or, something along those lines. And so needless to say, that was always a struggle for me. I did not finish college. I don't have a degree to this day. I do, I'm working on completing my bachelor degree. I'm not currently enrolled, but that is a goal of mine. Just a personal goal. And for no other reason, really, than I want my grandmom to see me graduate college. That's just my personal thing. But I have, been able to navigate the world and talk my way into some really great jobs. Like I work 9 to 5 alongside running my business now. I work for Penn. I've been able to, make my way and still run my businesses, still do my artistic thing, producing concert series at places like Warm Daddies, Rain Soul, World Cafe Live, things like that. That was, I'm glad that you asked that because that was a very interesting journey with me. My entire relationship with college, I think, was kind of like skewed based on the fact that I really wasn't given creative license to navigate that time. It was kind of just like, all right, listen, we gave you your 4 years at Kappa to get this out of your system. Now,
right. Let's talk the talk. And I think your story is so relevant. I myself, I didn't go to college, and I'm not saying and I worked in education, and same like you, I've been able to navigate through relationships and conversation my way up the board. And, I went as high as being a director of admissions at a private school for many years and having a lot of success. But that came from what I knew from me following my dream with the arts. Exactly. I just knew coming out in my senior year, I looked at my mom, everybody. Now we have, maybe in my family, I have a very big family, but one college graduate out of all of my aunts and uncles, and out of all, maybe 2, but there's 8 of them. And so I come from a working class kind of background. And so even though there wasn't everybody was like, you're going to school. And I was like, well, I'm not, y'all didn't, whatever, bye. Yeah. Right. That was my energy with it. And I was like, and I looked at my mom one time, I said, do you really want to go in? Because you're the one co-signing on these loans. And I can't promise I'm gonna make good on this stuff. I was just like, I don't know for what reason in me, I hated school, but I could not wait to get out. I felt like I spent 12 years in prison. I was like, you cannot imprison me for another 4 years.
But honestly speaking,
I'm gonna do this.
Honestly speaking, Jared, I think it's important to have that choice. I think it's important to have those conversations. I wasn't, with my family, it's like middle class, or in some cases upper middle class, in some cases upper class. There's a large family of mine too. I have a large family as well, but it was very much like you're graduating high school and you're going to college. There is no conversation, and I think our generation is at an advantage because we can really show our children that there are more than one routes and pathways to success. Yep. And I don't think our parents had that information. They didn't have that equipment. So, over time, like for a while, I really resented like my mother for that. But I think as I've grown and healed in a lot of ways, I understand, because it's just like she wanted to make sure that I was putting my best foot forward and positioning myself to take advantage of the best that life had to offer. And as far as her paradigm was concerned, that was not possible without college.
Yeah. And I totally, like you said, I totally empathize with the situation, because I get it. I get where they came from, and we're probably like third or fourth generation from slavery. And so the fight for equality in education is real. And the fight for, equality through education is real. And that's what they depended on. That's what they shot after. Very few people they knew were becoming like artists or esteemed people of sorts.
Yeah. That was like the less than 1%. Like
it was very, very low percentage rate that anybody actually made it in that system. And so not having any examples, not having any go-tos, they kind of in a way may have shot their children's situations down. But I also feel like that passion is in you. So it's going to drive you back regardless. So they planted a seed not knowingly, when they sent you to Kappa, when they had you in dance class, when they did all of that, they just weren't prepared for they didn't know the world afterwards. They just had to get their children into these arts and these games, keep them, because idle time is the devil's playpen. So they want to get their children into things that they think will mold them into successful people. And those arts activities is one of them. But they don't understand what comes after that.
What comes after that. And that's such a dope point that you bring up, because I think what happens is with folks like you and I who venture into the entrepreneurial side of arts and entertainment and creativity, we are really teaching ourselves as we go. Yep. Now, that is where like the importance of mentorship comes in, because it's so many different paths within the world of creative entrepreneurialism that you really like, it's trial and error in a lot of ways. Like you see what you want to do. You see some, best practices that are working for some people. You take that, you apply it to what you're doing. And that's work. That's really a muscle. And so I always immediately admire any creative entrepreneur, running a business within the creative sect. But yeah, it's a muscle. And because we haven't really had that type of knowledge base coming from the generations that pass it down to us directly, we've had to create community among ourselves.
Yes. And so you lead me into one of my questions that I had. I don't know if it was my next question, but it was something I had on my mind in regards to the law of attraction. And how when you kind of set your mind to it, and this is what I admire. So I don't know what kind of question it is. I'm just shooting off the cuff here, because you're right. When we as artists don't have that foundation coming from our parents, like my mom got me into the arts very early, how to make money off of it or create it into a business structure wasn't really there, but she was always down to support me, whatever. So she was like, build a studio in my basement. Sure. Let's see where this goes.
I love that.
And both my grandparents were very successful entrepreneurs. So my grandmother was a relative genius. She graduated college at 15. My grandfather dropped out of school at 8th grade, only had an 8th grade education, but always ran businesses from 13 till his death. And so, and always had money. She always told stories of my grandfather always having money. She was like, he was the breadwinner. He always made sure that we had money out of 6 kids. And so there was, that dynamic that I shared with her, we were able to share together, where she was able to give me a little leeway. Now, my aunts and my uncles, some were supportive, some were like, yeah, no. Go to school. This is a hobby. Y'all done crazy. You done crazy. They're going to be living in your basement forever. And, I still got so I still harbor some things about them comments, but they know me now for getting things done.
Yeah.
But to talk about this law of attraction, because even when I built my studio and my whole story and my journey through music and through art, things started coming to me. And so I want to talk about your business BDX, right? Because I myself am extremely fascinated with the plethora of like just services, but you have a band, like, and not, no, she don't got no fiddle player and a drummer and a keyboardist. Like, it don't sound like no wedding band. No, you got a band. You got horns. You have strings. You have a quartet. You have a DJ. You have, 4 phenomenal singers at all times. And if there's not 4, it's 1 phenomenal singer at all times. So I remember you saying you started this off with your former partner in the room, and y'all jotted this stuff down. He had the DJ equipment, but you didn't have the band. You didn't have all of that. Was that always the vision? Now I'm getting to the question part. Was that always the vision? And if, like, how did those things start? Tell us a story about how those things started coming, how it expanded your vision. Because sometimes it starts off small, and then you see the opportunity for more, and then you go in that. So talk about how that law of attraction happened from going to from that space in your living room to where you are now, to doing this phenomenal. We haven't even gotten to the YouTube video that's out, like this phenomenal YouTube video presentation of your band and your art and your work. So walk us through that, because
definitely
the family support, like talk how they had like every little piece, and then COVID hit, and then like talk about it. Please take us through the
Lord. I'm triggered. The COVID year was rough for me.
Yes, you're the first person I thought about, because I'm like, well, ain't nobody getting married now.
We Lord, it is by the grace of God that we even survived that year. But just to back up, we have multiple DJs, not just one. We have quite a few DJs. We have a wide list of services. Thank you for highlighting them. I appreciate that. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Jared, everything that has happened throughout the course of my business and every level up that we've experienced is a result of the law of attraction, because my vision for this company has always been way bigger than even what you see now. From the very beginning. And that video that we just premiered on April 11th is a step toward where I see us going. It was great. We dotted our I's, we crossed our T's, we reached another milestone personally. But we are not there where my vision is with regard to this company. We are getting there, but we've been able to manifest the things that we have been able to manifest, because yes, I keep the vision very, very clear in front of my face at all times. My goal for Boogie Down is to really be the first call for the elite entertainment within the entertainment industry. What do I mean by that? I want BDX to be getting the call to play the Grammy parties. I want BDX to be getting the call to play whenever Tyler Perry decides to open another Tyler Perry studio somewhere else. I want us to play the ribbon cutting of that event. These are the type of events I see us playing. We're getting there. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. And one of the things that I've sworn by since I started my business this time around, especially, was the idea of delayed gratification. Everything in our generation is very much quick. Like
microwave. It's the microwave generation. That's what I call it.
It's like people on Instagram, I couldn't pay my rent last month and now I'm making $10,000 a day. I'm like, okay, well,
I'm over all of that.
Not quite over here.
Yeah, right.
I hear you. But I promised myself that I would honor the concept of delayed gratification, because I want whatever we achieve, I want us to be able to sustain it. I don't want anything slipping between, the cracks or slipping between our fingers. And so, that has required me being very clear about the vision. The vision has always been great. It has always been big. And our very first gig, we played my aunt and uncle's 31st, I believe it was, wedding anniversary in their driveway. And we each got paid maybe $50. That was our very first gig. That was my investment, because you know why? I needed to get footage. I needed to get photos. I needed to build us a brand presence. And, I asked them to invest. Now, ain't nobody getting nowhere close to $50 a gig. Please believe me.
Yes.
But that was, you know, that was because I was clear. I knew where we were going and I was able to communicate that.
Yes.
I was able to communicate that to my team. Like, listen, this is what I see happening. It is not going to happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
This will require an investment from you. And there's even been moments within Boogie Down's trajectory. Like at one point I had 2 bands. Mm-hmm. At one point we had Velocity, and then I started a secondary band, Magic, shortly after I started the company, to, in my mind, service a different demographic. Then it was time for me to narrow things down again. The first band wasn't even getting that much of a demand for bookings. So now how am I going to create internal competition? And I couldn't generate real consistent clients for the second band. So we dissolved that band. We focused on Velocity, building it up, you know, from wardrobe to set list to stamina through a rehearsal, stamina through a gig, like, you know, and now we're able to provide real job opportunities to people. And it's only the beginning. Like in my mind, it's still only the beginning. Like,
of course.
The video was great, but we got some ways to go. And I get excited when I think about it, but we did I attracted all of those things, just being clear about what the vision was and taking my time, being committed to taking my time. I didn't want to rush anything, so that I knew when something came into our orbit, I could be like, that's it. That's not it. Yep. That's not it.
Love it.
But when you're rushed and when you're trying to hurry up and you miss things like that.
Miss it every time. I don't rush for nothing. I don't care how late I am. I won't rush, because if I'm late and I miss 3, 4, 5 steps before I even got there, or if I'm on time and I miss 3, 4, 5 steps, it ain't worth it. I'd rather be late and have everything I need. Yeah. and get the job done correctly. Now, that's not to say that I'm always late or anything of that. I just don't rush, because rushing never gets the job done in any facet. When I'm working here and I have my cousin, we're working on shirts, we make mistakes. I'm like, slow down. Yeah. That doesn't mean, even I don't care where the deadline is, slow down.
Slow down, for sure.
You gotta pay attention to things. I'm very big on that. How did COVID hit you? So what happened when that went down? Did you have to pivot? What happened with that? Did it make you stronger in certain areas?
Baby, listen. Okay. The crazy part about the pandemic year, the one that we reference as 2020, because I say that because I feel like there were kind of a couple of pandemics.
Yeah, there were phases.
Yeah, but 2020, coming into 2020 was the first time since we had began this company in 2017. Coming into 2020 was the first time that we were set to have a busy season. Like we had worked it up. We had worked the expo every year. We had our clients, and we had the most gigs scheduled for 2020 than we ever had.
Oh my God.
I was also full-time self-employed at that time. I had pulled myself off my job, or maybe they pulled me off. But regardless,
who's counting?
I was working for myself. I was producing the concert series. At this point, we had just started at Green Soul. We were selling out every month. That was an extreme income stream for me personally and for Boogie Down. Busy season, gigs on deck, staff full-time. Well, maybe not full-time, but like part-time, working remotely, whatever. And then literally the day we played our last event, it was a 60th birthday party. We had like a live trio and a DJ package or something. That day, they put out that we needed to shut everything down for 2 weeks. And so I'm like, all right, 2 weeks.
You're right. And counting 14 days exactly, to be noted.
Long story short, obviously, everything was wiped from me that year. Like literally everything. The business could not service events. We had to, I had to come up with a safely social plan for whenever we did go back to work, which we still have new hire sign off on, and we give clients the option to review. I did, a new marketing shoot with the BDX branded masks. Shout out to John Graves for helping us come up with those real quick. There were things that I tried to do, but everything that I tried to do required an investment. And so then we were able to take advantage of the PPP loan. We were not scamming. We were obviously a real recognized LLC, recognized federally. Because it got weird. It got weird with that PPP.
It sure did.
But we were able to take advantage of that. And I got to be honest with you, like if it were not for the PPP loan, Boogie Down would have folded in 2020 because we still had bills. We still had, you understand, you know, the SEOs that you pay and the website bills that you pay and our contract platforms that we pay for, even our Microsoft 365, even our Outlook, even our email, everything was a bill. And you become really aware of those bills.
When you can't pay them. That's for dang sure.
I was just like, okay, so you know, it wasn't for the PPP loan that helped us with that. We were able to get some pieces of new equipment, but the only thing that the company launched that year, we did launch some virtual arts training. We got a couple of pulls on that. It was not widely successful. We did the Instagram virtual karaoke, which really didn't make any money for us, but artists, it was more like a safe space for artists to come. We would have them log into the Instagram live, sing a song. We would pin their Cash App, and some people made a decent amount of tips doing that. Those were the only things that we launched, but I was depressed. Like I just was like, I don't know what to do. And that's when I started writing my album. Because I was just like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. And then, you know, luckily, you know, time went on. Everybody who, like, some of our clients were like, we're gonna do, you know, a small socially distant wedding. And so we still played those. And luckily everybody else we were able to reschedule, and going into 2021, 2022, you know, we were able to still play those events. But the way that we were on target to have a busy season that year and did not get the opportunity to still sticks with me. Like, I'm not going to lie, like that still sticks with me because we worked hard to get to that point. And we really had to return to a starting ground.
It makes sense.
You know, we really had to
return.
Also
all that momentum. A lot of that is momentum, especially with the entertainment industry and the live entertainment industry. It's word of mouth. And hey, this band played this band, you know, yeah. Wow.
Absolutely. We lost momentum. We didn't necessarily lose any clients, but we certainly lost momentum. And, you know, that hurt, you know what I mean? And I just had to like focus. I put a lot of effort into putting an album out that nourished me personally. And then I went back to full-time work, and, you know, we have just been trucking ever since. And we had to reinvest a lot of things, restructure some infrastructure, some of our systems. We really had to return to a starting ground because, you know, not only were we event-based, but we were new. So like we still were trying to get to the point of even being recognized by our competition as competition.
Wow.
Which I think we're there now. But yeah, that was a fight.
Wow. Now, out of that, you said you developed, because you also have a podcast. You have the Janee Latrice podcast, which is funny. It's hilarious. Y'all are hilarious. And so did that develop from those COVID years along with your album? Or?
No. I don't remember, honestly. I think I started the podcast in 20. I don't remember. That's so interesting. I know we would be going into our 4th season now. So it might have been 2021, Jared. But yeah, I mean, you know, throughout the pandemic years, like this traces back to the conversation we were having about my childhood. The one thing I can always come back to that nobody can rob me of is my creative apropos, right? So certainly when it came down to putting an album out, I mean, I was like writing a song every other day, like seriously. And at the time I had a safe haven in the loft. Major shout out to Erica Mack, where I could just go and kind of just like write and record and just get things out. And then I also birthed my podcast there, that's where we first started recording the podcast at the loft, her space there. Yeah, I mean, it really was just a reflection of having creative energy and needing to place it somewhere so that it could nourish me in return. I would say so. Yeah, but that pandemic year, it was hard. It was hard. I imagine it was hard for many people. You know what I mean? For many different reasons.
Yep. And that's why it's very interesting to hear yours, especially being a live event business. So people that have live event businesses, like, yeah, I went through that too, man. Like that was a jaunt.
One thing about it is, though, right now, one thing, and this is a lesson that probably ricocheted off of the pandemic year that I am really applying now as a business owner, is that the company be self-sustaining. You know, a lot of time as business owners, we pride ourselves. Like, if this is a passion project of ours, we will dump our life savings into making sure that thing go. Like, it don't matter. Whatever check we get, we dump it. And that's been my relationship with the company since I started it. Everything that entire video that you saw was self-funded by me. Boogie Down was not in a position to fund something on that level. Like, we were able to pay the staff, you know what I'm saying? Not the talent, the staff, their salaries, but like talent stipends that we paid for that, even just, rental, facility rental, wardrobe. We bought everybody's costumes for that. We bought everybody's outfits for that. We didn't rent them. We purchased them, gave them to them, paying a videographer. That all came out of my pocket. And it was during the production for that and leading into, what is going to be our 6th year that I decided that, anything that's not self-sustaining financially for the business, we cannot do anymore, because it's important that should something dramatic like that happen again, we have working capital that we're able to sustain. It's not dependent upon anything other than what we're able to bring in. And so that's a new muscle that I'm now just, training myself to exercise, is that let the business self-sustain, and whatever is not self-sustaining at a certain point, whatever is not self-sustaining, you have to just let that be and assess that is where your business is, and focus on how you generate more working capital, more income, and things like that. So yeah, that's definitely been a lesson.
How you pivot. I love how you said that. That was brilliant, because it's so important. It's so important when you say that, it reminded me of the importance of the vision. And that's where the brand really expands at, because if you stay focused on the vision, you know exactly how and where you can pivot and create those sustainable things for your business that keeps you on the, steady level playing field.
Absolutely.
And keeps your brand relevant in front of the people at all times. Okay, so we've been here for about an hour now talking. I love the conversation. I love the vibes and the frequencies. You're giving all this life. So
that's because we friends. Like
we able to do like
conversation. I do want to say something though. I do want to say, because just so that I'm clear, when you start a business, you have to be able to put the money into it. Like it takes money to make money, right? But what I'm saying is, at a certain point, it's good to step back and see what the business can do for itself. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't go broke trying to run your business, because sometimes
it's going to happen. And no, I totally agree. Mainly, so I started off in business with music. I was selling the CDs on the streets, and we sold over 10,000 copies of my brother's album. Oh yeah, hand to hand, like it's hustling on the.
I'm a numbers person.
Yeah, like we did numbers. We survived, and on top of that, so during that process, I learned, somebody said, you have to have multiple streams of income. I'm like, oh, okay. And this comes back to that law of attraction. And a lot of that too is, like you said, we didn't have the knowledge. So we were attracting this knowledge based upon the movement that we were making. So I'm always with entrepreneurs, like, it does not have to be perfect. It can be perfected along the way based upon just simple that law. And so when somebody said you had to have multiple streams of income, I was like, well, I built this studio. I can sell studio time. Put out flyers. Next thing I know, I have studio clients out the wazoo. Then I'm making beats, and I had my cousin in there making beats. So I was like, that's beats for cheap. We started selling that, and that was another stream of income and revenue. And so that fell apart because of interpersonal issues and people. That's when I learned people are the problem. I learned that apart in business.
Oh, that could be a whole nother episode.
That's a whole nother episode. And I know you deal with that because you got I really sit back because I know, like you say, you're a numbers person, I'm a numbers person, and I'm a realist. I know what it takes to manage and govern people and the size events that you do. You have to have people calling the band. You have to make sure people are on time. You have to make sure people are dressed correctly. You have to make sure people have the right address, that they have gas in their car. Some people don't like to eat, so you got to remember that they got to feed themselves. Some people don't remember listen, some people don't remember they don't need to drink the night before they have an event
or during. Like it gets colorful. It gets very interesting. I pride myself on being a strong leader, but it gets interesting. Managing people is its own skill.
Is its own skill. And so I was just saying all of that to say, and even in my journey in theater, I learned very quickly how to even like my next thing here with this theater festival, I'm learning from all my mistakes.
Oh, excited.
I'm super excited because I'm going into it. I know I'm ready for the big obstacles now because I already know all the small obstacles. I already know the funding structure. I already know where I made my mistakes. I'm ready to make some real money off of this because I know where to go with it. And so But that all comes from, you know, just moving forward and pushing forward in that law of attraction that happens throughout the process in a sustainable amount. And then, you know, even stumbling across T-shirts. I never woke up one day and said I want to be a T-shirt maker. Never did. But I knew enough about business where I knew the numbers. And I was like, oh, the numbers work here. And it's a service that people do need and will always need. It's like a barber, you know, and I realized that once I got into the game, it was now about market differentiation because everybody does T-shirts too. So it's like, what makes you different? And then when I realized, oh, it's a relationship thing. It's a personal branding thing. Okay, got it. Brand man, ding, roll with it.
You're killing it.
Yep.
I'm not calling anybody else for my T-shirts.
There it is.
Shout out to Brand Man for the.
You see that?
Period.
Get the job done. So I love this conversation because it just speaks to how people need to, one, stick with their passions, with their vision, trust in their vision, the process, and the law. And I like what you said about the self-funding. Guys, you got to understand, you really do have to be prepared to pour into your passion, but you also have to know your limit. Yeah. You know, you also have to know your limit. And you sometimes I've gone broke. So I can't say don't go broke on it.
No, of course.
Don't break yourself from it. And how you do that is understand the numbers and what is self-sustainable throughout that process. Because I had to put the theater thing to the side because I say I'm not making money off of this. And the only way I can make money off it, shout out to John Graves, who's able to do a show every 2-3 shows a year. Okay. When we have those conversations. I know how hard it is to even maintain that and to maintain the people issues around it. It's a feat. You know, he's even schooled me when I was doing it myself. He was like, yo, you know, you need, because he has another business as well. He's like, once again, that multiple stream of revenue, you need something to balance out. And so these are things that we learn as business owners and we learn it along the way. But I definitely hope that those people listening are listening and understanding from this is what I want this to be as like serve as kind of mentorship for those who are coming up and want to do something and don't know how to start or are in the middle of doing something and want to quit because you really shouldn't quit. Should keep pushing through for the breakthrough. That's my core belief. We got fire round questions that we're about to go into. But before we go into these fire round questions and wrap up the interview, I want to ask you, is there any inspiration that you have to give to the aspiring artist, to the little girl singing in her car, right? Annoying everybody, to the entrepreneur or the artist that is not getting support from their family? I want you to speak to the former you. Yeah. What do you have to say to inspire them?
Absolutely. And I have been asked this before, and I think it's such an important question. My response to that would be to, first and foremost, learn the sound of your own voice. Mm-hmm. Learn what you sound like when you're speaking to yourself positively, because negative voices are a liar and they can be very loud, whether they're coming from external or internal. They could be very loud. So learn the sound of your own voice and then learn to trust your voice. Learn to trust your instincts. What it is that you want for yourself, you can have. You know what I mean? And you know, you said something interesting. You don't think people should quit, they should push through. And I agree with that. I think there's a caveat to it, though, because there are certain things that I've done just because I was seeking validation or I wanted people to love me, or respect me, you know what I'm saying? Even professionally. And in those instances, I would encourage folks to stop that. Mm-hmm. Stop doing those things. Quit those things tomorrow. Like, seriously, wash your hands of them. Yeah. Sit down, really get quiet with yourself. Talk to yourself, your inner self. Get to know who you are and what you desire out of life. And then learn to trust yourself to be able to, you know, achieve those things. Carry them out. Trust your voice. Learn your voice and then learn to trust your voice. That's my advice.
Janee, that was beautifully poetic and so reflective. And I'm just going to piggyback on that because you learn your voice through the process. Mm-hmm. And you learn it's a muscle. You continuously put that will into fruition. And will is a muscle. Willpower is a muscle. and you learn your voice through going through that struggle and following your dreams and pushing through, right? And so you spoke directly to me, because if I didn't know first off, I wouldn't have known my voice if I didn't try these things, if I didn't go at it.
Yeah, man.
And then by learning and hearing that voice of God within me, telling me to do certain things, now at this point, I know that voice. It's not a question in my mind at all. It's like, I know the voice. So when I went through my situation a year or two ago, and I just stayed still and heard my voice, and I heard God say very clear, give it all back. And it was no question in my mind that was God's voice. It was no question, because I've been there. And as scary as it was that Friday to call up 5 different organizations that I was helping out or working for, that I'm not going to be doing this anymore. That was the craziest, scariest part of my life, because everybody was like, well, what are you going to do now? I was like, I don't know. I got to wait for that part of the voice to answer that question. And so here I am, and praise God for that obedience, because I see the vision so plain and clear and so big now. And I'm on my way there. But that would not have happened if I did not know the voice, and I was not listening to the voice, and didn't trust. I love how you said that. Trust the voice, because I could have let a lot of things stop me. I could have let a lot of realities in place stop me. I have a family, I have a home, I have a car, I have a lot of bills. And I could have let all of that anxiety of that stop me. But you have to allow it to propel you forward. And you just can't take no for an answer, even if that no is coming from yourself. Thank you. Right?
That gave me chills. I like that.
And I was only building off of what you said, because I love it. You're so right. You got to know your voice. You got to sit still with that voice. It says, it says, be still and know that I am God. It's so real. So
that's
real.
it.
Yep. And that is inside of you. Yep. It's biblical. So listen, we're going to go into this fire round questions. You got 5 seconds to answer these questions. It's about 7 questions or whatever. Let's see how it goes. All right. Here. One word to describe you.
Brilliant.
All right. Where does your strength come from?
God.
Hey. Who do you admire the most?
That's so hard. My grandmother.
Woo, you answered right at the one. What is your favorite thing to do?
Sleep.
Hey, Miss Businesswoman. Okay. Do you consider yourself successful?
Yes.
All right. Give me 3 things you have to do every day that contribute to your good habits.
Laugh, sleep, walk outside.
Okay. Laughter, sleep, and exercise. I like it. All good for the body. You are atoned completely. Okay.
I'm trying. Don't pray.
2 more questions. Who inspires you?
My grandmother. My grandmother inspires me. I'm deeply inspired by Shirley Ralph, Michelle Obama.
Okay. Yes. And the last question is, in 5 years, where do you see yourself?
Rich. No, I'm kidding.
I didn't even have to start counting on that one.
In 5 years, I'll be even more successful. I'll be a mom, and I will be happy. Shout out to my husband, Andrew.
Amen. And congratulations. Yes, congratulations. Congratulations on your marriage, on all your success. Congratulations on BDX. Congratulations on life. I am totally a fan, totally a supporter. Y'all already know, if you want some BDX shirts, y'all need to go to IamYourBrandMan.com/official BDX merch. We're going to make sure that the link pops up there. Support the queen, support the business, please, for sure. Yo, make sure I'm going to leave the link for the YouTube video. Make sure y'all book them. Like, that's the thing. Book them. She ain't never lied about that experience of a live band situation, even along with the DJ, like to have those vibrations going. It's an experience. They ain't never lied. It's a boogie down experience. And I see it too. You are going to be at the ribbon cuttings of the Tyler. You're going to be at the ribbon cutting of my studio for sure. So that's
an honor. That's an honor, just as much as an honor of Tyler Perry, because that's the trajectory you're on. And I receive it. Thank you for having me, Jared. I want y'all to follow us at BDX Bookings on Instagram and Twitter. You can connect with me personally at Beloved Latrice on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Well, you took it all from me. I was going to say next. Where can they find you, follow you? Give them all the details. Give them the website. Give them everything. Okay. The podcast. Drop it all, because you got so much. Give them the album. Tell them where they're going. Throw it all at them.
I know it's so much going on. Definitely visit Boogie Down at boogiedownbookings.com. We're also on Facebook. I'm also on Facebook, Janee Latrice. And yeah, my album Back to Me is out on all streaming platforms. It's been out since 2021. That's Back to Me. So you can get it Apple Music, Spotify. I mean, really wherever you stream music. My rap EP, This Is Not a Test, is also available all streaming platforms, YouTube included. And right now, the Janee Latrice podcast, we have a good amount of episodes where you could actually see and act like you're sitting at the table with us, available on YouTube. So make sure you check us out.
Nice.
Well, we'll be coming back for a season 4. Just stay tuned for that.
Listen, well, go back and check this 4 seasons to go listen to. They're hilarious. They are funny. It's funny conversation, grown conversations, but very, very funny. Yo, this has been Interviews with Your Brand, man. It's been super dope to talk to Janee Latrice, yo. And make sure you follow everything that this queen is doing and don't slack up. Definitely support, share the word, spread the word, share this message. This was a powerful interview. Thank you. And I know this inspired another dreamer out there, and we are better for it. And for that, and with that being said, we out, y'all. Peace. Thank you so much.
I made it come up. I made it come up.
Make sure you tune in to our next episode with serial entrepreneur Tiffany Ford. Get ready to be inspired.